Number two is not number two, but the next presenter is Kim Drennan, an architect. She is the principal of Drennan Projects, Inc., also an adjunct professor at Trinity University, where she received her undergraduate degree as well. She got her master's degree from the Rhode Island University School of Design and a co-author of Along the Way, that's an urban biography of San Antonio. Kim's article on the Kids, that is Kids Initiating Design Solutions program, and that is in the current issue right now of Texas Architect. She is a project manager of Kids, a collaborative program with the SAISD, UTSA, and the Southwest School of Art and the Architecture Foundation of San Antonio. Please welcome Kim Drennan!
Well, good evening. Thank you guys for all coming out tonight. The images that I'm going to show you are from the kids. They come from most of the SAISD schools here, and we've got a program that starts to talk about design and design thinking with third graders, fifth graders, and in the spring, we're going to be moving into kindergarten. And so I thought, you know, the theme that came to mind was beginnings. And I'd first like to thank Debbie Hutchison over there, our champion for this program, for the San Antonio the Architecture Foundation here. And then Southwest School of Art, UTSA, we have a ton of students who help us out with that. The schools, many principals at SAISD, and the Architecture Foundation. We've got architects and artists that come out and go into the classrooms and really make a great connection with these kids. So I'm going to thank them and get started. I hope she knows you only like the beginnings of things. I'm in love with beginnings, and sometimes I feel like I'm hoarding them, taking more than my share. And because I'm in the classroom, my collection is piling up, but not just from my own misdeeds. I get to borrow them from a lot of others. On the subject of beginnings, one of my mentors, Kina Lesky, wrote, "When I read poetry or metaphysically inhabit a creative work, or remember the great teachers that I have had speak, a sense of space is experienced, a clearing, one that comes upon, or you come upon it." The creative process is a clearing. It's a tremendously generative power that induces vigilance, a place of choices, a place of setting out. And every work has a beginning. Beginnings allow us to wonder. To begin is to grant ourselves the permission to lose the things we carry and gather what we encounter. Another great teacher of mine, Sylvia Acosta, wrote, "It's been said that a beginning is not only an action, but also a frame of mind, a kind of work, a consciousness. The beginning is the first step from which something follows, but curiously as well, beginning implies return and repetition. Beginning and beginning again, making and producing difference. Beginnings are not linear sequences, but accumulative experiences from which questioning, reasoning, and knowing proceed. The unexpected arises out of this iterative process and takes hold of the observer's intentions, then diverts them, then subverts them. Discovery displaces intention, and invention is possible. In the kids' program, the creative process unfolds by way of forming the physical world. We encourage observation and experimentation. Fail quickly, because each attempt provides new insight. Unexpected insights happen all the time, like popcorn popping. The students have flickers of clarity that take them to the next beginning. Often a student will ask, "Is this right?" And I thought about that a lot. How does one know to accept an idea? How do you know when it's right? For a response, I rely often on Reed Bergson's observation that joy is the sign of the creativity of an action. You feel it first. I find that oddly disconcerting, but remarkably accurate. We feel and we imagine. We make things with all of our senses. Beginnings allow us to unlearn, another very loaded concept in elementary school. The world is far too complex to take it all in. We make choices, and our beginnings are partially influenced by the sensibilities we carry as part of our own being. Why is it during the course of our lives we selectively pay attention to some things more than others? Why do we have magnetic draws to certain qualities? Order, spatial, material, social, all comes into our awareness, not in some random fashion, but through tendencies we already present inside of us. When we begin, we create ourselves. As architects, the works we make come from us, mirrors our reflections and longings, and when finished, is given away. There's something compelling and safe about geometric precision and pattern beauty. Repetition implies predictability. Predictability implies knowing. Pattern proposes, but material responds. It's in this conversation between the two where insight into the nature of things occurs. What we know and what we expect clash quite brilliantly sometimes. I've been told this, and I believe it to be true more often than not, that great architecture is created in a state of panic. Although we cannot choose to begin, although sometimes we choose to begin, so often it's forced upon us. The ground we've been traveling on and cultivating is pulled from us, and we struggle. Culture happens not when we're thoughtfully tilling the soil. To borrow a metaphor from Jose Ortega y Gasset, it's the moment of feeling a shipwreck where we generate a new, temporary ground from which to build order. To quote him directly, life is, in itself and forever, shipwreck. And it's important to notice it's not shipwrecked. He's not being apocalyptic here. To be shipwrecked is to not drown. 10 centuries of culture continues, and it brings with it, among many advantages, the great disadvantage that man believes himself safe, losing the fear of peril, the substance of life. All life-saving equipment must fail, but he must find nothing to cling to. Then his arms will once again move redeemingly. About 65% of the current grade school students will end up in careers that do not yet exist. And while we don't simply throw our students into the deep end of the pool, we encourage them to jump in, feet first, and feel the joy of making their own ground. The end.
You can't leave. It's not the end yet. Okay, first of all, fail quickly.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Fail quickly.
How do you know when you're failing quickly?
Well, you feel it.
I feel it right now. But,
well, it often
where did you
happens
get that idea?
I was told that idea. I was working in a company and we were stuck on a problem. And they just said, fail quickly. The more you fail, the faster you're going to learn something and get it right.
You know, how about that great architecture created in a state of panic here? There's
what do you think, guys?
Is that true?
Well, from my school days and from some of my professional work, absolutely.
And the project up here with toothpicks and what were those, marshmallows or something, or what?
Yeah, it was pretty much marshmallows.
And what did you? What was the instruction that got that?
Well, it kind of was a process. We started with a pattern, and we let them create whatever pattern they sort of could from the materials they were given. And then we said, okay, now make a three-dimensional pattern. And so that was the next step in the process.
And lastly, since we have book pimping going on here, you have a book. I feel like Leonardman. Okay, so you have Along the Way, an urban biography. What is it, and where can you get it?
Well, this was a great collaborative effort yet again. Tag Nishimoto at UTSA, Jennifer Hiller from the Express News, and Denise De Leon from Lake Flato Architects. We got together and put together a book about San Antonio in some of its very familiar places. And yet again, over at the Twig tomorrow.
Okay, thanks very much. I was going to ask you more questions, but thank you very much. Kim Drennan.